So it's April 2019 and I want to give a quick update on our winter garden. Here's our herb spiral, and our winter garden starts through this gate. This is the winter garden really because it's not so wet in the winter, it's quite dry in the summer. So first we have these sunken beds which we grow in the summer because it's cooler and moister down there. But we also got a winter crop in of garlic and peas. We've cleaned up round the back where there are strawberries to put flowers and herbs to help support these summer vegetables. And then over on this side we have a new Back to Eden wood chip bed. So we put compost, cardboard and loads of wood chips, and we put a pipe underneath with holes in so we can get extra water down there if we need to. There's a goji berry there. Up there we have a 100 metre of pipe to get to warm water for an outdoor shower just below down there that waters some orange trees. And this is our winter bed as well of wood chips. So we have here big cabbages which has onions and celery in between, so when I remove these cabbages the celery can continue to grow. Behind me we have broccoli and onions. Here we have broccoli. Here we have cabbages, celery, lots of garlic, some more brassicas and onions. I'm trying to create a row at the edge of the wood chips of different flowers, clumping strawberries, try and stop the grass from the path growing in. We've grown two types of garlic here, and the same two types in a raised bed and the same two type in a sunken bed, so let's see which ones do best. We've also got these giant elephant garlic, and then we're going to put more bark on the paths. So then we have a hazel tree with physalis and some flowers and herbs, and then we have asparagus and strawberries, and then over at the back we've got a new bed which has some black currants, red currants, and then rhubarb all the way along and a few flowers and things. And just to fill the spaces we put some red cabbages. These are the old pear trees that burnt down and have come back. There's 3 of them. In between I've put a lot of sort of flowers. We've also put a quince, flowering quince, a barberry. We've got perennial kale, sea kale, some different sorrels, lots of herbs. Just trying to create something a little bit natural looking. Then we have a blueberry bed along here with strawberries inside. Then here we have what was another strawberry bed, and it's now transforming into a autumn bearing raspberry bed, self-supporting. And then here we have a new asparagus bed. We're trying to grow as many perennial vegetables as possible, and then strawberries in between. And then here is more of a digging bed where we till and planting a new bed of turnips and radishes every week. Over here is an area of lots of weeds and compost. We've been composting here now for a year and a half, moving the compost around and putting a chicken tractor over after the compost, just to help break up the compost. These guys are young, so they're not doing much, but they break up the compost, eat the weeds. So next year we'll put more wood chips here. Along the back we have a windbreak planted, although it hasn't grown so big yet because it's young, of edible plants and pioneer species and nitrogen fixing plants, all to support the winter garden. And then here we have a barrier which is going to be a hedgerow of nitrogen fixing and soil building shrubs like Siberian pea shrub. Here we've got myrtle further up, and then smaller shrubs like hyssop, rosemary, lavender. And then to fill the spaces we put some flowers, because the flowers will help support, bring in some insects, beneficial insects to support the vegetables. And also in all the spaces I've put onions, since I'm irrigating there, and gives us a yield. Here is some super weeds, so they help bring in some insects. Here we have a Portuguese style bed where we dug over and planted cabbages, which have come to the end of their life, just waiting for some seeds, and then we're going to redig it over and plant another crop there. Eventually that will also be a wood chip bed. And then here we have another asparagus bed. I think total so far is about 50 planted, 20 to go, and there's a different type of strawberry in between. Then here we have a strawberry bed, which we're going to clean up. This is our first sunken bed. It's just had a recent weed, and we've put in some summer vegetables a bit early. I'll put a cloth over here to keep it warm. We have fava beans here, and then a almond tree. We've got trees all over the place here, and then we have a trellis, TP trellis for the beans which we've just planted. This whole wall has brambles growing out of it, so here I've got a pile that should kill off the brambles behind it, possibly not. And then here I've tried experimenting by putting black plastic on top of the wall and down at the bottom, and hopefully that will kill off the brambles. In our greenhouse we've got everything ready to plant out this spring. There are a lot of perennial vegetables, berries, edible plants, trees, and then vegetables ready for the summer. We're always making this compost tea. We have worm farms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 worm farms, just to make more compost tea from the juices, and use the worm compost, the worm castings for our potting mixes. And we have a little guild here with a plum, and then we've got another Portuguese style bed, or the style I learned from the Portuguese, which just has ditches for flooding, and then various vegetables, onions, garlic, cabbages and kale. And then along the fence at the back of the winter garden we have peas. And here's an apple tree, and also over here we have quite a lot of wild persimmons, so I've chopped them down and grafted onto a bunch of them. So I'll probably keep 1 or 2 that take, hopefully 2 different types, and maybe also the wild one. So that's our winter garden. Thank you for listening.